perspective is that my parents bought their home in Chicago in the 70s for $30,000. Today, it's worth $50,000. So I tell you that from the real good. Very, very deprived area still to today. So I was all said, I had nothing to lose, everything came. I went, my parents raised me in Catholic school education because during that time we had hard-working parents. Catholic school was the best education, plus it was also an alternative for babysitting that keep you from the street. That's when you had a hard-working family who was at home from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that was a contributor to my life where I was able to share that with you guys. You guys come from an educational background. Then they continue to show me that moving from high school to college is the same transition from grammar school to high school, which we have to see these kids nowadays is the same transition. A lot of times they have other options to go on the street, go on the service, etc. That was fun. Then I went to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I had the best 5 years of my life studying architecture at Southern University. My world opened up like this. I met people all over the world, especially my old roommate from Pomona, California, that led me to come to Los Angeles. Came to visit two times before my thesis. That's the best time of my life. See, now, came here with an architecture degree, graduated from Southern University with a BA in architecture. Came here and couldn't find a job. I thought I was going to get a Brady Bunch architect. Job I received 6 months later, I was making $9 an hour. $9 an hour. So wow, 5 years of education, $9 an hour. Wow. Before we started going to the entrepreneur world, we had Christmas break, and the vice president called me in the office and said, "Hey, we're giving everybody bonuses." That bonus was $135. Wow. At the end of the day, I said, well, you know, it's a little something. I couldn't really measure up because I kind of just got there that February. And it was kind of like December. So I waited the next year. Went in the office and he said, hey, don't share what you're receiving because everybody gets a little bit different, but it's very close to the same. Okay. Got $150. Man, very motivating. So at this time, the way the office set up, we was on AutoCAD. You guys know AutoCAD. It's like software you design on the computer. And I looked over to my coworker, and his envelope was thick. I'm like, man, you gotta have more money than me because my envelope was thin, you know. So I asked him, he's like, hey man, I ain't sharing my information because he said, don't share what you receive with other coworkers. I said, man, you gonna receive, you gonna tell me what you have. I ain't gonna tell you what I said. Yeah, man, you won't tell me. Because we got close over this now, it's been 2 years. He got $5,000 cash. He got $150. He got there 6 months before me. But he didn't look like it, of course. I look at this other guy envelope, everybody's envelope was thick. That day, I was so heated up, I went into the office. 5 minutes later, he told me that. Gave that $150 back. I told him. I told him I'd never come back to the office again. Because this is discrimination. This X, Y, Z. I was upset. I didn't do any cursing. I went to another firm. Stayed there 6 months. When I went to the other firm, I wore jeans and a polo shirt. I realized I knew everything from that first firm. The second firm I went to was been in business for 14 years at the time. Blew them away. They said, what do you want? I said, I want $35 an hour. Called me an hour later and said, we got it. You got it. Wow, $9, $35. Right then, I knew my value. I knew my value at that time, but I can't belittle the company talking. Just know they didn't treat me well financially. But all the knowledge in the world I was able to achieve. Speeding up, my whole theory was, let me start my own architecture real estate firm. Back then, being a real estate agent wasn't sexy for me. It was like the stay-home mom's second job, right? You tell a woman you're a real estate agent, she's like, what? That's, it's kind of weak. So I said, let me put a little architecture. So it's an architecture real estate firm. I started doing my own small developments. Add on to a single-family home, small strip mall, small condominium development. And I say small, something like 3 to 4 units on the lot. Very small within my niche. Then I became a real estate agent. Actually, real estate broker, so I can sell my own product. the turning point in my life was I bought a 4-unit building. I stayed in one unit, and I rented out the other 3. Every night after I worked, I went and painted, laid tile, etc. My key was to living for free as much as I can in Los Angeles. So I stayed in one unit, rented out the 3. So let's say my mortgage was $5,000 at the time. The other units provided $5,000, and I was living for free. I bought 10 4-unit buildings before I bought a single-family house. Every building I bought, I moved to the best unit, the best neighborhood. And guess what? That one unit I left behind became what? Cash flow. Right? Remember the 3 units paid the mortgage. That one unit was single, free and clear. So that unit bought me, back then, $1,200. The next one bought me maybe $2,000. I went to a better neighborhood. The next one bought me $2,500. Before you know it, look, I was making an extra $10,000, $12,000 a month. I moved into building the building. No secret to my success. But it was really the turning point. I owned 8 buildings at this time. And I was in Union Bank in Beverly Hills. And I was on the phone in line, I had the check in my hand, made my deposit. On my way back, I'm driving down Olympic Boulevard. A little white lady in a BMW blows the horn. Pull over. 2 p.m. in the afternoon. She ain't setting me up. Pull over. She said, listen, I was the lady behind you in line in the bank, and you didn't notice it. She said, but I noticed you, and I noticed how much that check was in your hand. So you got to deposit $260,000 like it was $200. She said, never said that. And that's what happened when I poured that $200,000 out on one of my properties to buy another. And she said, I don't know who you are, but I'm assuming you have more money than that in the bank. So I'm going to tell you something that's going to change your life. She said, when you get back to your office, you call Union Bank of California, and you tell them I was the gentleman who just deposited $260,000 in your bank. Can I speak to a manager? So I was like, man, what does this mean? So I got back to my office, I'm not going to call, Something a little call. Let me just say what she said. She said, just do that. You don't owe me nothing. Don't ask me for my name. Just remember that. Got on the phone. Excuse me, I just left the bank and I deposited $260,000. Not speak to the manager. Just like that. She said, she said, hold on. Got back very nervous. Oh, hold on. Send me to the manager. Come to find out, the manager gets on the phone and said, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. Are you available in the next hour? I could be. He said, are you married? I said, no. So you got a girlfriend? I said, yes. Said, bring her too. Get there. Got 7 floors. They took us to every floor, introduced us to everybody in that building. Gave us drinks. They gave us cider, gave us chocolate, gave us pens, etc. I left there with $1.2 million loan. Unsecured. Because why? Because when I went in that bank, they're supposed to take me and say, excuse me, sir, you need to talk to a private bank. Anything over $250,000, they should have took me to a private bank. And not just that, when I made that deposit, it took me over $1 million. I was 26 years old. It took me over $1 million. Nobody. So they took my money all these years. They never offered me private banking status, high interest on my money, etc. That changed my life. Then I started opening my mind like, I thought I was doing good. Now I know the game. I got to start reading. I got to start understanding the financial game. From that point on, I started understanding the real estate game. I started understanding money, capital gains, taxes. I started understanding private gain, private banking. Private banking, today, what interest rate at? Interest rate, 6.5%. Right now, if you're in the private banking, you can get 3%. Why? Because they have your money. They can give you whatever interest rate you want. They give you loans against your money, against your property, or just unsecured debt. See, they gave me that unsecured money because they felt like I was going to sue them. And I didn't know about it. I could have been like, this is a lawsuit, right? But I didn't know about it. I just went in there humble and reaped the benefits. So I tell us every day is there's things in our life that come along the way that we got to recognize as gifts and to empower ourselves. That's going to open doors for us. And that one thing opened doors, a lot of doors for me. From that day on, the next month, I bought a library at an auction in Westchester. I turned around and sold that library 1 month later. I bought it for $1.2 million. I sold it for $1.9 million. I was on plan or not at the end of the day. So I share that story with you guys because very important. And what I learned also is insurance, life insurance. Everybody have life insurance in here? Hopefully everybody have life insurance. But there's also, life insurance can be your savings account. Just like you put your money into Wells Fargo, Bank of America has the highest yield, interest on your money, and has an insurance benefit for your loved one, your wife, your kids, and even yourself. So that's another means of income that we can talk about when we have a Q&A. You can ask questions and I'll be able to share that. Get a whole life insurance policy. Yeah, let's say you get one for $500,000. They might charge you $150 a month. But you can overfund that account, right? You don't have to pay $150, you can put $250. That $100 is accumulating anywhere between 3 to 12%. Just 4 months ago, it was going from 3 to 24%. Went down to interest rates. So that's another way we can kind of find a way to generate some money is insurance. And also, if you guys have 401k, property, we have to start pulling money out. Everybody got 401k, right? So, stock market went down, I'm sure everybody lost. My brother, he's a corporate America guy. He had worked for the same company in Dallas for, I think he's at 38 years. When he retired in 3 years. He had $800,000 in 401k. His name is Sean. So Sean, you got to diversify. Especially in 2020, it allowed you to take money out and put toward real estate, right? He didn't do so. I want to retire, I want all my money, etc. Now he has $400,000. Now he got to work another 10 years, possibly, to get back up to $800,000 to retire. Because the interest rates dropped, right? Stock market crashed. So we got to diversify funds that we have in the bank. We have, when I say in the bank, that's 401k, the IRAs, life insurance policies. We all got to tap into that because African American people don't do that. We want to be safe with our money. We want to hold on to our money, right? And then we ego trip, right? There's people right now I can say, hey, go back home and ask your family and friends or neighbors who's losing their home. Oh, nobody. But all of a sudden, somebody down the street losing their house, $20,000 in taxes, and the house was paid free and clear, and it's worth $1.2 million. Yeah. That's sad, man. That happens every day. It's really prominent in Merck Park right now, Baldwin Hills, to Ladera Heights. That's a real popular area that we're doing a transition of African Americans losing their homes because the grandparents are leaving to the kids or the grandkids. The grandkids are back Midwest, East Coast, so maybe they went to school, and they call and say, hey, you want this house, but it'll be behind in taxes. A lot of times they'll fix income. It takes 5 years to be legal in your taxes in California before they sell your home. 5 years. So that's why it's a healthy amount. But when you take a house, if someone lost their house, if your grandparents called you and said, hey, pay my $50,000 in taxes, you can have this house. It's free and clear. We just don't know the value. That value there is immense. So others that look like us, they paying us $50,000 up front. And they get that profit. And they make $1 million profit. $1 million profit. That's amazing. We can be that. We can network and get that money as well, right? Even if you don't have the $50,000, you have to call other resourceful individuals who may have it to help you, partnership with you, right? You can say, hey, let's do a 50-50 split, 70-30 split, etc. Don't leave the money on the table. And I'm going to close by saying, California is a melting pot of financial world. We don't take advantage of it. All I can say is that at this point, I have invested in about 160 properties as an individual. I don't say I own all those properties. I know what they did. I was into buying and keeping. Anytime I sold, it was to buy something bigger and better. I live in Hancock Park right now, which is my dream neighborhood. I'm not a native here. I'm not sure who's all native, but I didn't realize the neighborhood I was buying to the natives in California, from Chicago. I just rode my bike down Highland one day, and then ambulance was down there, blocked the road, and I turned into the neighborhood. I was like, wow. I grew up, every house looked the same. You know, wow, this is amazing. Having an architecture background, I was long west. Long west. Wow. And I don't know if you know, Hancock, he designed that area where all the artery streets, you never really go in the neighborhood. Go down Wilshire, Pine, Rossmore, Third, you don't really hit the neighborhood. Oh, so my dream was I'm living in this neighborhood. How am I getting in this neighborhood? I made goals. Bought a house, took me 6 offers to get into the neighborhood. Everybody denied my offer. Every single white agent. 4 agents in 2000, I bought in 2004. 2008 on back, had 4 agents running the whole area. They was making sure we was not getting into this area unless you was somebody like Muhammad Ali. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to be huge. So guess what? They'll call me and say, Quincy, we can send you your offer, but the sellers want to have dinner with you. What? Look at me as being green. I'm qualified. I send you my tax return, my W-2, my pre-approval letter. So I go in there. This is not my really earrings in here, hat on backwards, you know, like going in there, right? So I started cleaning myself, going to all these dinners. Thank you, but no thank you. I started going 500 to 750,000 over the price. They wouldn't have give me the property. Now I would go into MLS, but at this time I was a broker, and see how much they sold the property for. So if they sell the property for $5 million, I was offering almost $6 million. They still was selling for $500,000 to somebody else. Mm-hmm. They took a hit. You hear that? They took a $500,000 hit just not to let us in. That's huge. That should tell you something. I was like, wow, that's amazing. They wouldn't even take $500,000 to $700,000 overpriced just to live in the neighborhood. That's how controlling it was. So one day, my wife and I were listening to church. We always like, let's drive in the neighborhood. We drive in the neighborhood, a sign about this big. It said private sale. Usually private sale is when somebody's doing like a garage sale in the backyard. Because in that neighborhood, they don't let garage sales get in the front. And she's like, oh, that's a garage sale. No, take a picture of it. Took a picture of it. The lady said, yes, it was a Jewish lady. She said, I'm selling for sale by home. Are you qualified? Absolutely. I met with her 10 times before she said yes. 10 times I met with her at the house. 10 times. And know what she said? One day, like maybe a few times out of 10 times, she had 2 kids, like 2 and 4. And they would run down the steps. And she would jump out and say, go back, go back. Like I thought she was being a hard disciplinary. Thought she was just basically saying, y'all need to be in bed, etc. Then one day, maybe like the 8th time I was over there, they ran down the steps, but she had left the room to take a call. When she came down, the kids was playing with her, making me little bracelets and all on my back, and you know, like little kids, the kids would do, right? Having fun. I was tickling them and everything. She walks in the room, she looked at them like, I don't even know these kids. But she was shocked because she just realized the kids never been around here, blah, blah, blah. And she was very boisterous and open about her stuff, right? She told me she was prejudiced against Asians. And she said, I don't like blacks. I hate Asians, but I don't like blacks. She was honest with me. We was having 10 meetings, we were talking about everything, right? And she said, my kids, they never touched or been around anybody black in their life. I said, well, they got a short life. They got to try to butter it up. They only been around 4 to 6 years anyway. All right. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get the deal. You know what I'm saying? And she said, no, you know what? Something about your heart that my kids see and I don't see. Congratulations. She signed that deal. Them kids sold that house for me. Right? That was huge. I love kids and old people. Right? I get chills when I think about it. Because I think that's what turns the world, right? And in saying that, She blessed me with a house that now is worth $10, $12 million. I bought $5 million 18 years ago.
Wow.
Those lessons, being in the right place at the right time and being, assertive and consistent and just believing that the path is your path, right? So Quincy, I'm gonna stop you right there. Assertive and assistant, I'm gonna be. All right, excellent job. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
And you guys will be able to quiz them in a minute and get more information. I just want to make sure that you can hear from both of them because they wealth of knowledge, man. Wealth of knowledge. My man, Fred Hawthorne, I already introduced him to you. He's my former student from Horace Mann. And it's funny because when I saw him walking up, he looks like that same little kid that big basketball under his arm. But go ahead, brother.
Man, thank you for having me. It's kind of surreal when you're seventh grade teacher. He's like first name, first black man outside of my grandfather that I absolutely admire. Similar stories. Born in Harlem, raised in South Central. Drugs and alcohol dominated my family. I would say 70% of my male cousins did over 20 years in jail. I was the baby cousin. I was the last man, and mom was addicted to drugs, so my grandma and my grandmother brought us to California. And what I would say was the tipping point with me was when my stepfather died. And I just had this realization yesterday or 2 days ago when I was on my podcast. My stepfather died. He could have been my grandfather. He was 20 years older than my mom. But he passed away, and the property went into probate. The address is 656 West Lawrence Avenue between Hoover and Figueroa. And because that house went into probate and my mom lost the house because her name wasn't on my stepfather's will, we had to move to Mar Vista. And I went to Venice High School. And I would say that's the first time where my vernacular opened up, right? Where I sat beside a white man, a white female, where they call them liberals or hippies. Venice teachers in the community was different because when I watch TV or when I walk down the street of Harlem, you see anything other than black or Puerto Rican or Mexican, they're basically like the enemy, right, per se, right? And I got into college by accident, completely by accident. My cumulative high school GPA was we're all educators, right? 2.03. I was a Division I athlete, couldn't qualify for LMU coincidentally, so I had to go to Cal Baptist, and I hated it. I wasn't really, the parents, grandparents, and prayer warriors, so I wasn't really into the Bible and stuff, so I had to drop out because at Cal Baptist you have to get a minor in Old Testament or New Testament. And so I ended up going to Whittier College. And in 1997, I met a little Asian woman, right? And everything that I did up until then was based on Fred's ability to manipulate, right? Whether it was trying to get a woman, whether it was finessing a teacher, or whether it was finessing basketball or football at the time. And that was the first time where I really, really started to understand structure, right? Andrea wanted to be a doctor. And I'm like, a doctor? I mean, I've seen the Huxtables, I've seen, I grew up in Harlem, so Harlem Hospital was the rocks throw. But I never understood what it took to be that successful. And I watched her work. We would date, and she would be home by 8, and she had to read books, and she had to take anatomy classes, and pre-med. And like 98, 99, I didn't know what I was going to do when I graduated. I knew I wasn't a professional athlete. And I remember her telling me, I wanted to be a school teacher, obviously inspired by Mr. Earl and stuff like that, but you say it, but you don't know you don't have a navigation system inside you, right? And but I watched her discipline, and I had to take a test. The C-set, is it the C-set?
C-best.
What is it called?
C-best.
Oh, shit, C-best. Well, the C-set.
But C-set is another touchy.
Okay, the C-best was easy. The C-best was easy.
Yeah, it was.
What was after that?
C-set is the hardest.
I failed that test 7 times. Failed it 7 times. I wanted to be a school teacher and a high school coach. And the reason why is because I was formulating, right? I was germinating, right? And it was her discipline and her dedication to my potential, right? And because of that, I ended up becoming a school teacher. And for 7 years, I was a school teacher. And I got laid off in 2007. Teacher of the Year. I got a day named after me in the city of New Orleans. But if you're last to get hired, you're the first to get fired. Yeah, y'all know the game. And in that moment, I swear before God, I told myself, I'll never let the same person feed me start. And I started my training business, and everything that I did was unconventional, right? So it's not like no straight way of getting there. I had a training business, and I hustled my training business. I was in great shape, had a great mouthpiece, and so I started training professional athletes and stuff like that. And meantime, Dre is in med school, and I can honestly say it was her rearing me, like, oh, I believe in you. Because my family is so fragmented, there's no males in my family. My grandfather passed away in 95. And it was a man by the name of Mitch Jewish man. And he taught me about stocks. And I didn't have no concept of it, but the man was paying me $225 an hour to train his son. And he said, no, you should invest. And it was a day, I'll never forget it. Meg Whitman was running for governor. Here, you remember that year? Meg Whitman was running for governor, and he's having a fundraiser for Meg Whitman at his house. But I had to train him at 4, but I had to be gone by 6, right? And he said, do you want to stay? And I was like, nah, I don't want to stay. And then he came back to me and he says, Fred, I'm paying you $225 an hour. You're training my son 3 days a week. I know what I'm paying you. You need to invest in stocks. And I never really understood stocks from a conventional standpoint. But what he taught me was to be an ambulance chaser. And ambulance chaser is, it's Christmas time. What's going to be the best seller? Find a manufacturer. Because it's cheaper than a brick and mortar. Right? So as opposed to buying shares at Nike, because that's expensive. It's $107 a share. Find a manufacturer. Right? Who makes the leather? Who makes the laces? And that's how I build capital on top of my my training income. And then I ran across a friend of mine named Derek Chua. He's a godsend. He taught me about real estate. This is around about the 2008 when Obama got in office. And as my tears were drying, he was saying, you should do real estate. You would do well. And I had a cash business, right? Cash business. And I had real estate. And how I was so fortunate was because everything crashed. So now I'm investing in AIG, Bank of America. I mean, it was just so many stocks. Wells Fargo, and they were $2 a share. 2008, everybody struggled. And I'm like, he said, invest in these. He said, invest everything you got. And I'm in New York, and I'm going to a Yankee game, and I have everything in my portfolio, and it's like $2 a share, and I'm like, God damn. And then 2 years later, I just jumped back, it was like $20 a share, and you make $500,000 off of one stop, and you're like, God damn, this is amazing, right? So with the information Derek Chulak gave me when he crashed, he taught me about real estate. And now Dre is adopted now, right? And I always want to include her in my story because no matter what I did, even when our salaries flip-flop, Dre's first day, she's making $300,000 a year. That day, I'm making $50,000 to $70,000. You get what I'm saying? So no matter what I did, she always was like my backbone, right? And I got into real estate. Dug into my real estate portfolio, took out $80,000, and bought my first property on Western and 94th. Those bungalows, when you're going to Jesse Owens Park and Century, I own those bungalows. And we just buy and hold. But when he was talking about your retirement, we got to stop acting like we're our own grandparents, right? Our grandparents put our money in the shoebox. You know, don't you bother that money. You get your retirement, you get your pension, and you live off of that $4,000 a month, right? The most beautiful thing about Dre being adopted, no matter what I do, I can fail because we have a theory. Dre, you hit singles, Fred is going to home runs, right? I can get any loan, offer her 401k. Anything I want, I can get off of her 401k. You understand what I'm saying? Because of her retirement. If she's making now, I'm close to $1 million a year. In her retirement, she's a K1. She's a K1. You guys know the K1, W2, 1099, you know, she's a K1. So anything, so now I am a qualifier. And here's the niche, what we do. I only put her name when we're applying for real estate because only one person's in debt. I'm not in debt, so I can go get home runs. So Frederick can take the risk, and Trey will be on paper. And that's how we able to hold. And now Derek and it's me, Derek. It's 5 of us. I don't know why I'm not drawing a blank on the names, but it's 5 of us, and collectively we have over 300 doors. 300 doors and wing stops, stuff like that. It's just been a hell of a ride, but the one thing that got me over is discipline. And seeing money as a tool. I've never desired to be famous. I've never desired to be, only thing I've ever desired is my last name was that. And the only way my last name could be lived ever if I give my son and daughter something that they can own. And everything is an opportunity. And similar to Quincy, we just moved, right? We just left Levert Park, right? Because I thought we just reached the ceiling, right? And it was like about $2 million our house was worth. And we ended up getting a bigger home. But the point I'm making is that home is a tool. It's not, you see it as like, I own it. It's a rock. It's a pillar. But we had $1.4 million in equity in that house. What are we supposed to do on it? Get wealthy. Everyone in here, everyone got gray in here. Everyone has 6 figures in their savings in their retirement. It's not. It's for real. You have to know the laws. That's why I encourage everyone to get their own CPA. No TurboTax. I don't know the other ones now, but because they're going to teach you the laws. Like during COVID, I mean, the government was just giving away money. And we're sitting on our hands and we're believing that we got to have some level of humanity. There's no humanity in money. You know, if you want humanity, I guess you go to church on Sunday. I guess you pray with your sons and your daughters. Money is no humanity. Money doesn't really have any emotions, right? That scene from Friday, right? And I really want Black men, especially, you gotta do two things. You gotta protect your family, and you gotta finance your family. And we're talking about creating streams of income. Your job right now is your investment. Because if you see it as a job, you're counting down. That means you're counting towards death. Like you're counting down, you're not counting up, right? So like 20 more years and I get retired, 10 more years and I'm done. It's Thursday, I have one more day of work and I get 2 days off. It's your primary investment. That's what your job is. And how I know that is because Dre, she works right down the street, is our primary investment. Every year we have an opportunity to add another piece of property because of the primary investment, because of my investments. You get what I'm saying? I'm off the grid, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's so important. And the last thing I'll leave you guys with is in our community, we got to be famous to be rich, right? And how I became now wealthy is through family. It's through structure. Is my mom believing in God, my grandma believing in God, because the TV is gonna make you believe that you can be undisciplined. You can go out on Tuesday, go out on Saturday. I've lived my whole entire adult life like I was down by 2. Give me the ball, coach. Halftime is over, and I'm going. Never drank, never smoked, no tattoos, no piercings, because Fred had to get an asset from every door he went into. I didn't give a fuck if it was an Asian woman, a Black man, a Jewish man. I am going to asset extract from you. And I've always lived like that. And now it's paid off. Like it's, people say, oh, you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. No, I'm going straight. I'm not taking a detour. And that's the one thing that got me over is discipline. You know, seeing Dre work through that anatomy work, you know what I mean? And having the time to say, I love you, Fred, I believe in you, was essential.
Stop you right there, Freddie.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll stop you right there. Thank you very much. All right, and we only got a few more minutes. We're going to go over a couple minutes. I do want to ask you guys a couple of questions that we can hear real quickly. So quickly, if you can go over there real quickly. And then if any of you brothers have a question, ask those. And I'm just going to start off with one. You're right. A lot of us in here got a lot of gray in our beards, right? So we had a point in our lives where we're transitioning, right? What's your perspective on risk? What's your perspective on, where somebody might be and taking calculated or uncalculated risk? Give it to me in 30 seconds.
Is based on risk, and if you don't take a risk, you become successful. So you just can't be scared to spend your money. At the end of the day, they can pull the rug up under you and have you start all over. So I say among each other, the risk is, right now you can start an investment group among the people just in here now. Be wealthy just in the next year, right? So this is a group right here. Right now we can get together and say, hey, we're gonna put some money together and use the brilliant minds in the room. Somebody's smart, somebody's loyal, somebody has this connection, somebody has this experience, right? And that's how you get together. I consult maybe half dozen strong investment groups and how they got together, just like this. With family, friends, or coworkers. So I think if you don't take a risk, you risk yourself of not being wealthy, or like you said, being able to take care of your family by generational wealth.
Cool. Fred, anything on the risk?
It's the wrong R word. It's what's the reward? I'm taking every goddamn shot possible. It's the same mindset, man. When you go to a club at 21, you're like, goddamn, I talk to 20 motherfucking women. One of them will give me goddamn something, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. same goddamn thing. What's the reward? I've never been fearful. Never. And I encourage everybody. What's the reward? We can have heaven on earth. Everyone in here is employed. Everyone in here has an investor at their fingertips. It's really that simple, man. I mean, he's saying it, and I'm coming behind him saying the same thing in a different tone, but it's really that easy. You got 10, you got 10, you got 10. We go to fucking Arizona, buy a whole lot. You got 10, you got 10, you got 10. We get on a plane and go to Detroit and buy the whole city. It's really that easy. I mean, we do our homework, but that's how much these properties cost. And we got Hollywood money. And I use me as an example. I'm trying to buy 100 acres in Wyoming as I speak. And Dre is retiring in 13 years. And I said, why don't we just go to Wyoming and buy some uncharted land? I be the mayor, you be the vice mayor, I be the governor, you be the vice governor. That's what you do. You know what I mean? You live off the land, you know? But it's really, really that easy. I mean, it's not rocket science, it's just the information is not 5 or 6 generations through all of us. You know, y'all for $40,000 together, y'all for $40,000 together, and guess what? You can go buy a Subway franchise.
So I'm gonna pause that right there. Second question. Fellas, anybody got a question, thought, anything? Second and last question, because I know we need to shut it down. We want to respect your time. Is both of you guys, you know, education played a key role in your thing, right? You understand, Fred, you've been a teacher. You've been around a gang of teachers. You know, the question is just this. 2 books transformative, or 2 sources of information that you would leave us with to say, you know what, you need to put your hands on this. This is a game changer for you.
I never relied on any books because I always thought that the books were somehow got outdated, right? So like Rich Man, Poor Dad, right? I think it's outdated, right? I just don't think it's current, right? Everything's evolutionally changing right now. We're in a system, we're in an environment where the whole world has changed, right? So I believe that we just got to stay current on the internet, looking at current interest rates, looking at the current market. I'm not sure if everybody's interested in real estate in here, or just investing, or just getting some type of knowledge at the end of the day. Maybe you guys can share that with us when we open the floor, if that's possible. But I think just being current with the internet and also resources that's around you. You guys are all educators, so it's around you every day.
The Autobiography of Malcolm X is probably the greatest book I ever read. Discipline. Like I get back to personal accountability and discipline. I read The Richest Man in Babylon, Nazareth, and the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But my life always goes back to the Autobiography of Malcolm X. And we all have a Malcolm X moment, transformation in all of us. And today is our financial transformation. It's essential that you 100% transform. And what I mean by that is, oh shit, I just gotta put $300 here and I'll just let it sit and get that 1.5%. Nah, don't go to Taco Tuesday. Fuck that vacation. Buy a vacation home. You know, it's a mindset shift. And I would love nothing more than in 150 years, our last names are side by side in a Hancock Park. And we don't have to cut on the news. Kyrie Irving has been in me. And every black man that's as famous or as powerful as he is has also been in me with their time. And it starts with small moments like this. Antoine Fisher's story started just like this, right? In a small group of men. And it's really that easy, man. It's just that shift change. You know, I don't know what your vice is, whether it's gambling, whether it's drinking, whether it's women, whether it's whatever it is, you got to turn that faucet off. We all have vices. We all have it. And once we cut that faucet off, there's a mindset shift. Same with Malcolm X. Pimping, holding, drinking. He went to prison, came back 7 years. He was a changed man, very disciplined. And these 7 minutes or 57 minutes that we spent together, the information that we have here, hopefully it's monumentous, you know, in terms of will you live forever? We all believe in God, but we got to act God like. You know what I mean? And God is going to live forever because he understands what perpetuity is. I think us as a coming out of a, not color, but just coming out of impoverished, we don't understand what perpetuity is. And we genuinely have to think about forever.
All right, cool. Fellas, any questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? Sir?
I'm just really grateful for the time and space, and it's inspiring, you know. I think that a lot of times we don't think about what's possible, we just think about the obstacles in front of us and don't see what's out there. And so I appreciate it. I'm about to ask Dee for some money right now so we can go a little Wyoming.
Hey. Wait. So this is the catch, real quickly, before you say that. I just saw this happen real quickly. Do y'all know each other? You two right there? Jeremy and Ruffin.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all know each other?
Yeah.
How long y'all been? No. Jeremy and Ruffin Patterson right here. Do y'all know each other?
We've seen each other.
But y'all don't really know each other.
Not on a personal basis.
And these are two of my closest friends in LA. This dude I've been knowing since high school. This dude I've been knowing for what, 15, 20 years, Jay? All right, and so I say all that to say this. They just said, make a connection when you get out of here. Quincy talked about it, you four. Fred talked about go buy some here, this, that, and the other. Jacob just cracked a joke on that. Before you get out of here, connect. I'm just gonna ask that you connect with 2 or 3 guys that you don't know and exchange phone numbers. If nothing else, we all in the same district. We all moving at different paces. Don't walk out of here without a connection, because if that's all we get out of this today, that's huge, because then the ideas that they talking about, we'll be able to move that stuff forward. Go ahead, Jay.
I just say that I would like to, like meet again and do it in a more like, where we're more practical knowledge, where you're saying, okay, this is first step, second step, third step, like that, because it's hard to like put it into like a real perspective.
Practical.
Yeah, and
I would go a step further. How much you come back with your real numbers. I'm practical. Like, fuck the idealism. If you want to go to idealism, there's a church open every Sunday in every country. How much do you have in your savings? How much are you willing to risk? We can have these conversations over and over again. The reason why I am worth 8 figures is because I took that risk. Simple. You bring your statement, you get it at the check on the 31st, you see it. On the 31st, when you get that quarterly report, I was a teacher, you get it. I pulled mine out, I had $15,000. I pulled mine out, did my first movie, and the rest is history. So you gotta come with real numbers. You take everything out of my brain, and then we come back again 3 months later, and we see where you're at. Because if we're waiting and having meetings, that's church. We might as well put an offering plate. That's church.
Not quite, but that's all right.
Huh?
Not quite, but that's
Well,
all right.
yeah.
You know I'm here. But no, but the reality is that's valid. And that's what he's told me on some other things, it's like, what you want to do now? If you don't want to do now, stop the conversation.
Well, I think that everybody should try to, if you can't own your own real estate, so the key is you can't afford it because you don't have the down payment, the credit, etc. The paperwork, you have the last 2 W-2s, or 1099s, K-1, then you need to collaborate with somebody else, right, to make you whole. That's all the equation is, right? So we all kind of lack something. It can be credit, they got money, they got credit. If you come together, you make it happen. Or you join an investment team with somebody like me and Fred will run and basically the leader of it and say, hey, we're gonna invest in this. How much again? We're gonna do integrals of $20,000, $50,000, right? So, and everybody has a share, right? It's like a corporation, right? So you gotta just get your feet wet, but also say, try to buy your own property first and foremost so you can kind of understand it. If you can't, then that's when you might want to join an investment group. Or if you own a property, say, hey, you know, I have resources now. I have equity, right? I have something to reach out and grab to kind of diversify my money. So you guys got to think in that channel, and he's basically being very direct with you, saying, hey, there's a lot of people out here in LA ain't talking. I got this, I waste your time. You know, I used to tell my agents in my office, right? They cute girls and stuff, and guys used to call and say, hey, I'm qualified to buy a house for $1.2 million. And they wasting their time driving around, looking at their asses all day. You know what I mean? They ain't have no money, they ain't pre-qualified. But they want to be around pretty girls. So I said, no, they said, well, we ain't closing no deals. I said, because you driving guys around who are not qualified. You guys see their qualifications. See if they're able to buy. Or you don't take them around. It's not serious. And that's what Fred's basically saying, hey, you know, you gotta have the money. You ready for real estate, you ready for investment, it's all about having capital. How you gonna reach out to that capital? How you gonna access that capital in your circle? Or, like I said, we run to the same place, right? So that's all. It's just basically saying, hey, let's come together and say, how can we invest together? This is a nice group of people to come together, a nice group of brothers, and say, hey, you know what? We can do something. That's how it started. I had a group in New York. They started just like this, right? They came together, put $100,000 together. They all came in from the 401ks, etc. Right now, they with closing deals, they're making, I think they made like $2.4 million over the course of 4.5 years, just by investing together, right? I just dissolved the group in 2020. I was like, I'm tired of, you know, I was making on
The manager.
the commission, you know, the broker commission. You know, sometimes 2 to 3%, but they was making the big capital, right? I should have joined them, right? But I wanted to stay out because I wasn't sure how successful they were. They made 10 times more money than I made, but they won. And they keep giving me referrals and business after business. So you guys can do that right here. Just 2 or 3 people. If that came to be, you know, you just need a little bit more advisory, right, to make it happen. And that's what you seek.
Yeah, that's
what you seek. It can be on Zoom. It can just be a call, you know, between us. And say, hey, we can help you get to that point. Then we get together. You know.
Yeah, so can we have,
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know.
Mr. Earl, you have our information.
You want to
right?
send everybody?
I got y'all's information, yeah.
everybody
But what I want to do is make sure that we have every email in here today. So everybody's email is right there? Okay, cool. So we'll create a list. We will create a list.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I can attest to Quincy's story, because when Quincy first moved out here, he moved next door to me. Wow. Right? And so I've known him longer than his family. And so back then, when people started to accumulate properties, he was trying to give me this advice. But I didn't have that discipline. I didn't have consistency, right? And so back then, I was taking the vacations. Me and my wife, we were doing everything. And then 2008, 2009, my position with the district got cut. I was on A basis to C basis overnight. And then now, we paying out more than we bringing in. And then I'm like, I'm not taking my daughter out of the school because she was at Page, right there. And so eventually, Quincy helped me short sell my place to have to get out of it. And then I moved into one of his places to help me get back on my feet. So everything he's saying is just 100% real. If I would have had that discipline.
And he have a brother. And his brother both had a condo right in the same building. I was able to influence the brother. He left right in time. He made what, $200,000 or $300,000. He fell short. He held on a little too long. And I had the vision. So you gotta sell. But you know, one was with it, one wasn't. He fell a little short, but he worked his way back. And I was able to put him in one of my units so he can regain his credit back and so forth and get strong. And now I heard he's qualified to buy whatever you want right now. So he came back.
Yeah, that group economics thing is real. I have a bunch of tenants. Like, it's funny how we laugh at the Latino. Ha 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 ha. You motherfuckers got so much cash on hand. I swear before God, they gave me 2 days, 3 days before the rent is due. But that's the understanding of what they're doing. You understand what I'm saying? Their goal is to buy a house or a business or something like that. Our goal is to buy a chain or, look cool, or, the Bentleys and all that shit, you know what I mean? But it's essential. Like, it's really this easy. I know I'm saying it like this, but that's how I operate. 2 people get a four unit. Single family, it's the same loan. Same loan, man. You put up 10%, you put up 10%, you got 20%, you live in apartment A, you live in apartment B, and in 5 years, y'all go y'all separate ways. Y'all go y'all separate ways, y'all done made y'all money back, y'all done took the risk, and now you still got 40 years to live. And now you're good as gold. Like it's not rocket science. If you don't have a wife, get you a best friend. And humble yourself. That's what people always get mad at me for. Why are you so vulnerable? Why didn't you just say it? Because I want more of this to turn into a Wall Street that we all own. I'm adamant on it. I'm adamant on it. And it's really that simple. Y'all put up 60,000, you got 120. You buy a 4-unit complex on Manchester and Broadway. You know what I mean? You may have to sell a car and you buy a Honda Civic instead of a motherfucking Infiniti. It's cool. It's just a 5-year plan. You got 5-year relationships with women you ain't got shit from. She done took everything. You can't do 5 years with your best friend. And boom. Y'all split in 5 years, you got your money back. You don't have equity in California. That's the one thing about California. You're gonna have equity. If you pay your taxes every December, you gonna have equity.
So I'm gonna pause this right here and just two things. One, respect the time.
Yes, you're done.
But the second thing is just this, is that I've learned this about Quincy and the way he was referred to me in the conversation, and I've known this about Fred. Y'all hearing their story, and they sound real big, but these are 2 real humble dudes. Real humble dudes. It's like they, and so it's important for me to see and be constantly reminded that, this flow that they talking about, this ain't something that they new to. They true to this, but they sharing this knowledge with us. And like you said, you can verify. I can verify for this dude. This is, they got a check next to their Twitter name. They legitimately verify. So let's take advantage of this. We have everybody's email, and I will, and Jacob and I will make it our business to put together a different list, and a list that's about this list. Okay, and I like the way he said, even if it's a Zoom, and I think that to Fred's point, because I'm sitting here right now, I'm thinking, okay, cool, how much I got a little couple extra dollars to play around with. Let's do something, because we've been talking, but I've been playing games and making some other moves, and not really consulting the dude that's doing it further than I've been doing it. But let's make this happen, fellas. Let's make this happen. Jacob, you ready to do this raffle, man? Gentlemen, can you get his brothers a round of applause, because they didn't have to come out and they did. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Nothing. I told him, I said, I'm glad you got a Tesla because I ain't got to buy gas,
Well, I'm so used to being around the youth, so it's really intriguing to be around.
It was.
Right? Because I always try to share the knowledge, and I'm very humble because I know tomorrow everything can be lost, right? I'm never comfortable in my space because I'm always trying to grow, trying to have more, and that's the way to be. If you're too comfortable at home, your girl start talking to you different. You start saying what and et cetera, right? So we got to continue to be men. That's what's more important, right? And men, real men invest. That's what it comes down to. Real men invest, right? Whatever you want to invest in, real men invest. If you fall short of that, then we're gonna look up and everybody gonna look behind you and say, man, you had the opportunity, right? We ain't getting no young. So,
That's
yeah, I
We
didn't
on
know.
another half, y'all. We gotta stop working. We on the back now.
Go ahead, bro.
All right, then you can do the honors. So, real quick, guys, our union Associated Administrators of Los Angeles is just really in support of our black male educators, and so they are blessing us with 4 gift cards. And so what we'll do is on Monday, anybody who is selected, we'll go ahead and be emailing that gift card to you directly. And then, like I said, Dr. Early Vaughn is going to send you a list of everyone's names and emails here on Monday.
Perfect,
So that way
perfect.
we
And
can get together.
I'll ask them to put their emails on it. 'Cause- oh, you guys don't have that email. All right, I'll put the email.
You have it.
Cool. Yeah, I got it.
But I'm trying to go with Fred to Wyoming. I'm not kidding. Hey, man, it's nice.
He really ain't kidding. But you know, it's funny. Side note, when they said they're both used to working with young people, both of them asked me, like, okay, so how old are these kids? I'm like, no, man. I'm like, no, man. This is us, man. We all folks that need this information, right? You know, but so that's just where their heart is, man.
Well, I'm a part of the 100 Black Men of Los Angeles, and you guys are good brothers and look like you guys qualify for that. So if you want to call me and want to go through that process, those are another good brothers to be with. And it's a wide range of people in this organization, man. They're growing and some powerful brothers. And we get together, and now that 2020 has passed, we get together and start chopping it up. We go to black organizations and have little networking meetings, etc. And we do everything from supporting the mayor to any other venture. So I think you guys might want to look into the 100 Black Men. This opinion.
That's how I got connected with him, because my god brother, I don't know, what is Marco's responsibility? Just a
I
loud
know a
mouth?
lot of Black Men, but he's been in it so long, so he kind of navigates to different ones. Right now, he's over like the social media part.
Okay, cool. So
and
he
the
connected
social
me.
part of the
Well,
aspect.
this is
That's-
our 14 Black men. And
Absolutely.
Let's do this, man. All right, we're picking 4? Yep. All right, 1, 2, leave gift cards for food. I'm trying to pick somebody who's gonna take me to lunch. Like, who's gonna take me to lunch? Let's work it out. I'll take you to lunch. You don't need to get. All right, here we go. Marcus. That's Marcus. Marcus Sanford. That's you, brother. All right, cool. So
I got you.
He got
I'm
you.
hold
We got you. Next one is that Bruno? All right, we got you, bro. The next one is I can't even pronounce this. Works at Carson High School. Who's this?
Spell it firstly.
Is it Femi? Is it Femi? It's Femi. Yeah, there you go. If I can spell it, I could have pronounced it. I couldn't find the reading. And then wait. So what? You had this set up, man. You said is it Marcus or Maurice? Now it's Maurice. You know, all right, cool. There we go. Solid. So you got to be getting the gift cards in the email. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, again, man. Appreciate y'all. Fellas, thank y'all for coming out. I got to jump on a panel thing, so I'm about to move somewhere with internet. Hey, brother.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. All right. Appreciate it. All right.
really
I said that, man. Appreciate it.
oh,
Thank
that's
you.
what up, man. That's what up.
You know.
That's what up. All the time.
Southern version. Yeah.
All the time.
You were a poet.
I went to Whittier.
Okay.
My wife and went to Whittier. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We played